Graham Bennett ran the same trail every morning before work. It was his therapy. His time to think. At 46 years old, he needed these quiet moments. Graham was a single father to his daughter Maya, who was 15. His wife Sarah had died in a car accident 3 years ago. Since then, it had been just the two of them. Graham worked as a paramedic. The shifts were long and the pay was modest, but he was good at what he did. Saving lives gave him purpose when everything else felt empty. This morning the trail was quiet. Dawn light filtered through the trees. The air was cool and smelled of pine. Graham was 2 miles in when he heard it, a faint sound almost like a whimper. He slowed, listening. There it was again, coming from off the trail. Graham left the path and pushed through the underbrush. 20 feet in, he found her, a woman lying on the ground. She was in her early 40s, blonde hair matted with blood, wearing running clothes that were torn and dirty. There was blood on her white shirt. A lot of blood. Graham's training kicked in immediately. He knelt beside her. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" The woman's eyes fluttered open. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Help." Graham quickly assessed her stab wound to the abdomen, significant blood loss, pale skin, rapid shallow breathing. She was in shock. "I am a paramedic," Graham said. His voice was calm and steady. "I am going to help you. What is your name?" The woman's lips moved. "Claire." "Okay, Claire. I need to apply pressure to this wound. It is going to hurt, but I need to slow the bleeding." The woman nodded weakly. Graham pulled off his shirt and pressed it against the wound. She gasped in pain. "I know," Graham said. "I am sorry. Stay with me." He pulled out his phone, called emergency services. "I need an ambulance. I am on the Ridgeview Trail about 2 miles from the north entrance. I have a female approximately 40 years old with a stab wound to the abdomen. Significant blood loss. Patient is conscious, but in shock." The dispatcher confirmed help was coming. Graham kept pressure on. "The wound, Claire, can you tell me what happened?" The woman's eyes were closing. "Claire, stay awake, talk to me." Her eyes opened slightly, running. "Someone," she coughed, blood on her lips, "attacked me." Graham felt anger rise in him. "Okay, do not worry about that now. Help is coming. You are going to be okay." But he was not sure that was true. She had lost a lot of blood. The wound was serious. It took 12 minutes for the ambulance to arrive. 12 minutes of Graham keeping pressure on the wound, talking to Claire, keeping her conscious. The paramedics arrived with a stretcher. Graham gave them a rapid report. They loaded Claire onto the stretcher, started, and 4 applied pressure bandages as they carried her toward the ambulance. Claire grabbed Graham's hand. "Thank you." Her voice was so faint he could barely hear it. "You are going to be fine," Graham said. But he did not know if she believed him. The ambulance drove away, sirens wailing. A police officer approached. "Graham, sir, I need to get your statement." Graham was still shirtless, covered in blood, not his blood. He told the officer everything: where he found her, her condition, what she had said about being attacked. The officer took notes. "Did you see anyone else in the area?" "No," Graham said, "just her." The officer gave him a card. "We will need to follow up, and thank you for helping her." Graham nodded. He jogged back to his car, drove home. He was 2 hours late now when he walked in. Maya was eating breakfast. She looked up and her eyes went wide. "Dad, what happened? You are covered in blood." Graham looked down at himself. He had forgotten. "I found someone on the trail. She was hurt. I helped until the ambulance came. Is she okay?" "I do not know," Graham said honestly. "I hope so." That evening, after his shift at the hospital, Graham called the emergency room. He asked about Claire. The nurse was hesitant at first, but when Graham explained he was the one who found her, she relented. "She is in surgery, critical condition." "That is all I can tell you." Graham thanked her and hung up. He found himself thinking about Claire all night, who had attacked her. Why was she going to survive? 3 days later, Graham got a call from the hospital. "This is Dr. Martinez. I am calling about Claire Ashford. The woman you found on the trail, is she okay?" Graham asked. "She is stable. The surgery went well. She is going to recover." Graham felt relief wash over him. "That is good. Really good. Miss Ashford has been asking about you. She would like to thank you in person if you are willing to visit." Graham hesitated. He did not need thanks, but something made him say yes. "Okay, I will come by tomorrow." Claire Ashford was sitting up in bed when Graham arrived. She looked better color in her face alert, but she was still connected to monitors and 4S. She smiled when she saw him. "You are Graham." "Yes, ma'am. Please call me Claire." She gestured to a chair. "Sit, please." Graham sat. "How are you feeling?" "Alive." Claire said. "Thanks to you. The doctor said another 10 minutes and I would not have made it." Graham nodded. "I am glad I was there." Claire studied his face. "You are a paramedic." "Yes, for 12 years. She was quiet for a moment. "I want to do something for you to thank you properly." Graham shook his head. "You do not need to do anything. I was just doing what anyone would do." Claire's expression was firm. "No, what you did was extraordinary. Most people would have panicked or been too scared to help you. Saved my life. I owe you everything." Graham felt uncomfortable. "I do not want anything. I am just glad you are okay." Claire smiled slightly. "Can I at least know more about you, who you are?" Graham shrugged. "Not much to tell. I am a paramedic, single dad. My daughter is 15. We get by." Claire nodded. "What is your daughter's name?" "Maya. She sounds important to you." "She is everything," Graham said. "After my wife died, it has just been us." Claire's expression softened. "I am sorry about your wife." "Thank you." They talked for a while longer. Graham learned that Claire had been running the same trail she ran every week. Someone had come out of the woods, attacked her with a knife, taken her wallet and phone, then left her there. Did they catch him? Graham asked. "Yes." Claire said, "The police found him 2 days ago. He had my credit cards." Graham felt some satisfaction at that. Good, as he stood to leave. Claire said, "Graham, before you go, I need to tell you something about who I am." Graham waited. "My full name is Claire Ashford. I am the CEO of Ashford Medical Technologies." Graham felt his stomach drop. Ashford Medical was one of the largest medical equipment manufacturers in the country. Billion-dollar company you are. Claire nodded. "I know I should have mentioned it, but honestly, it was nice to just be Claire, a person you saved. Not a CEO, not someone with money, just someone who needed help." Graham understood. "That is why you did not want the press involved." Claire nodded. "The company does not know what happened. As far as they know, I am on medical leave for a minor procedure. I want to keep it that way." Graham respected that your secret is safe with me. "Thank you," Claire said. "But Graham, I meant what I said about wanting to thank you." Over the next weeks, Graham visited Claire several times. They became friends. She told him about the pressures of running a company, about being a woman in a male-dominated industry, about losing herself in the work. After her own divorce, Graham told her about raising Maya alone, about the financial struggles, about worrying he was not enough. One day Claire said, "Graham, I have a proposition for you." "What is that?" "Ashford Medical is opening a new emergency response training division. We're going to train paramedics and first responders on our new equipment. I want you to run it." Graham stared at her. "What you have, the experience, the skills, the character, and you understand what really matters in emergency situations." She named a salary. It was 3 times what Graham made now. "I cannot," Graham said. "I am not qualified." "You are more qualified than anyone." Claire said, "You proved that in the woods." She leaned forward. "This is not charity. This is not me trying to repay a debt. This is me recognizing talent when I see it." Graham was quiet. "I need to think about it." "Of course," Claire said. "Take all the time you need that night." Graham talked to Maya about it. "What do you think?" he asked. "I think you should do it." She said, "Why?" "Because you are always helping other people, Dad. Maybe it is time someone helped you." Graham smiled. "When did you get so wise?" "I have a good teacher." Maya said. Graham accepted the position. The training program was a success. Graham had a gift for teaching, for helping people understand not just the technical skills but the human side of emergency response. 6 months later, the program had trained over 500 first responders. Lives were being saved with the techniques Graham taught. Claire called him to her office. "One day, Graham, I want to expand your role, make you Vice President of Emergency Services, oversee all our medical training programs." Graham felt overwhelmed. "Claire, I am just a paramedic." "No," Claire said firmly. "You are an expert, a leader, a person who understands what matters." Stop selling yourself short. Graham thought about his old life, the long shifts, the financial stress, the constant worry. He thought about Maya, about being able to pay for her college, about being home more, about having time to actually be her father. Okay. He said, I will do it. 2 years after Graham found Claire in the woods, Ashford Medical held its annual gala. It was a black tie event, donors, board members, industry leaders. Graham felt out of place in his rented tuxedo, but Maya was there with him. She was 17 now, confident, beautiful, excited to start college in the fall. Claire approached them. She looked elegant in a long dress. Graham, Maya, the first am. So glad you came, Claire. This is my daughter, Maya. Maya, this is Claire Ashford. It is nice to finally meet you. Maya said, my dad talks about you all the time. Claire laughed. All good things, I hope. Mostly, Maya said with a grin during her speech. Claire talked about the company's mission, about saving lives, about innovation. Then she paused. But none of that matters without people who act. People who see someone in need and choose to help. She looked directly at Graham. 2 years ago, I was dying in the woods. A man found me. He did not know who I was. He did not know if I was rich or poor, important or ordinary. He just saw someone who needed help, and he helped. She continued, that man is Graham Bennett, and because of his character, his skill, his heart, I am standing here today. There was applause. Graham felt his face burning. But I want to recognize something else, Claire said. Graham did not help me because he wanted recognition. He helped because that is who he is. And that character is what makes him extraordinary. She announced a new initiative, the Graham Bennett Emergency Response Fund, a scholarship program for first responders who wanted additional training. After the speech, people came up to congratulate Graham, to thank him, to tell him their stories. Maya squeezed his hand. I am proud of you, Dad. Graham looked at his daughter. I am proud of you too. On the drive home, Maya said, Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you ever think about that morning, about what would have happened if you had not been on that trail all the time? Graham said. But you know what? I think about more that I almost did not stop. I heard the sound, and for a second, I thought about just running past, letting someone else deal with it. Why did you stop? Graham thought about it. Because I knew I could help, and if I could help and I did not, I would not be able to live with myself. Maya nodded. That is who you are, Graham smiled. That is who I want to be. Years later, when Maya was in medical school herself, she would tell people about her father, about the morning he found a dying woman in the woods, about how one decision to stop, to help, to act, had changed everything, not just for Claire, but for their family, for the thousands of first responders who had been trained, for the lives saved by people who learned from her father. Graham would say it was not extraordinary that anyone would have done the same. But Maya knew better. Most people would have kept running, would have called for help, and left, would have done the minimum. Her father had done more. Not because he wanted recognition, not because he expected